In the previous session, we have discussed that how the Java collections works, what is the Java collections, and how you can create the object of the collections. We have discussed one demonstrated, very small example, not demonstrated actually. I discussed a very small example related to the passport, right? So let's implement that scenario. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a simple Java project and let's name it. So here I have created the application called passport app and just created a one main application, one main class in the package com.d2d. D2D means debug to deploy, our channel name, and app, and we have a main class, nothing else I have created. So let's create the first of all the entity class, a business class, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a one more package right there, and that is the entity, right? And here I'm going to create a bean class, right? A Java entity class you can consider, or something like this. So let's discuss, because what I have observed, that many of the people, right, still not aware about what are the standards of the bean class, right, and how you should write down the bean classes. So although I'm not marking any annotations over there because I'm not using any advanced framework, but at least you should know the proper standards of the bean class, right? How you can create the proper bean class. Okay, so let's first of all create it. So let's say private string passport number. Okay, then private string, let's say first name last name, so I'm using full name or just using the field name. And what else, let's say string nationality. Okay, nationality, spelling correct I hope. Then string what else, let's say local date, let's say date of birth, right? Private, and what else, let's say again local date and date of issue, correct? Then let's say what else, let's say date of expiry, because these are the or mandatory fields in the expiry date. Okay, and as per our example, the previous example, I have mentioned the column blacklisted, right, where I was trying to filter the passport based on the blacklisted one or not, right? So blacklisted, so the variable name must be is blacklisted or not, right? Okay, it's something like this way. And one more field I would like to make it like as a passport type, right, whether it is a diplomatic passport or something else. Okay, so let's create one more enum right there. Okay, so here I'm creating one, sorry, not a class, instead of that I'm creating one enum, and that will be the passport type. Okay, and what would be the values of this passport type? That is defense, right? Let's assume, okay, that this is a defense personal password. I don't have like that of the exact values, but you can consider somehow, right? Or let's say diplomat. Okay, what else, let's say government employee, government employee. Okay, what else, general. Okay, so what would be the advantage right there, right? What is the advantage right here? So here, instead of using the string as a passport type, I'm using enums, right? And this makes my code or our code more safer, more structured, right? Easy to use. So for example, like instead of writing the general defense or general category, I'm using the constants, right? Predefined constants, which is related to passport type dot defense, right? Something like this I'm going to use it. I'll show you how I'm going to use it, right? So this is my pass enum, and that enum I'm going to use right there, right? You can observe right there. And enums are a very frequently using kind of data in the production environment, right? So here what I'm using, passport type, and the passport type. Okay, So this is what, this is my, you know, the entity class. Now what are the predefined things in the entity class? Ideally speaking, so it must implement serializable. Okay, so this is like the requirement number one, right? This is like requirement number one, right, which we must follow. The entity classes, or a bean class, or a pojo stands for plain old Java object, right? So these classes are basically called as a bean class, okay, or you can also call pojo class, or you can call as an entity class. All has the same impact, same meaning, only different names of the same content, right? So first requirement is that it must implement a serializable, but you can avoid this one, right? It is not that mandatory. The another thing which is mandatory, that it must has a default constructor. Okay, that every pojo class must contain a default constructor. For the convenience point of view, I'm just removing the super statement behind this, right? So it must have a default constructor, and it must have the getter and setters, right? So select all and creating getter and setter of all, right? And the thing is, it should contains toString method, so I'm also implementing the toString. Okay, so this is a basic standards what the bean class must has. But for my convenience, for my own requirement and convenience, I am also adding one more constructor, that is called the constructor of all the fields, right? It actually helps me to initialize the object quite easily. Okay, otherwise I have to call setter method again and again, right? So that is the another thing. Okay, one thing what I have observed, that many developers can write any code anywhere, right? So what I have observed, let's say suppose this is my parameterized constructor, and many developers will create the constructor right here. Okay, they will create the constructor anywhere, right? It's not required. Although nowadays what happened, that thanks to Lombok, that we don't need a whole lot of these things. If you are not aware about Lombok, when I'm going to prepare my another videos, probably using with the advanced framework, something like a Spring, I'll use Lombok. But just for your information, I'm not using any Lombok kind of things. I'm not catering these kind of features right here, and I'm telling a very scratch and very basic things. Okay, so what happened, that many developers can write code anywhere. It's not a correct way, right? It should be the sequence, it should be ordered properly. So first of all the fields, second the constructors, and then getter setters, then toString, over toString, equals and hash code I have to implement. What is equals and hash code? I will definitely going to discuss about this, but later on, not right away. Okay, as of now I'm just using the default way of hash code and equals. Okay, and then toString. Okay, so first requirement is implementing this. Second is all the fields must marked private, right? All the properties must be marked private. Second thing, or another thing I have already discussed, that it should contains parameterized constructors, then getter setters, okay, and the equals and the business logics, equals and hash code you must implement. Okay, this is the requirement number 4, which you should fulfill for the bean class standards. So at least these things you must have it. So what we have right here, I hope that you can understand the whole scenario type, and this passport type is a separate enum class, and here I'm going to insert the values. Okay, so let's do first of all let's create a data structure for us. Okay,